A story of conquest, innovation, and the clash of cultures, the Ottoman Empire went from the rough steppes of Central Asia to the splendor of Istanbul. Let's take a look back at the past of one of the most powerful empires in the world. From the siege of Vienna to the conquest of Constantinople, from the luxury of the Topkapi Palace to the strategic brilliance of the Janissaries, we'll learn about the lives of sultans, soldiers, builders, artists, scholars, and politicians. In the 8th and 9th centuries, nomadic Turkish tribes sought refuge in Islam after being forced to flee their homelands in the Asian steppes by the powerful Mongols. Around the turn of the 10th century, the Seljuk Turks established themselves as the preeminent power in Islamic history. They developed a more sedentary lifestyle, with rigorous government, taxation, and obedience to Islamic law. However, not every Turkish clan established permanent colonies. Many people continued to live nomadic lifestyles, lured by the Ghazi tradition to spread Islam and accumulate money through conquest. These nomadic fighters altered the Byzantine Empire's eastern Anatolian frontiers in order to pacify the Seljuk Turks, who frequently clashed with them over their expansionist ambitions. The nomadic Ottomans evolved from these chaotic origins and settled in northwest Anatolia sometime after 1071. The Ottomans, named after Osman Gazi (1259–1326), increasingly pushed their way into the Byzantine Empire, eventually relocating their capital to Bursa in 1326. This marked the beginning of an empire that would eventually spread from its stronghold in modern-day Turkey to southeastern Europe and the Middle East, posing a threat to European resistance until the final Battle of Varna in 1444. With the conquest of Constantinople in 1453, the Ottoman Empire was strengthened and lasted until the early 1900s. Even though the Ottomans are rarely regarded as a European power, they had a significant impact on Europe, especially in the late Middle Ages. Because of their overwhelming military prowess and streak of victories, the Ottomans aroused widespread terror in Western Europe, with many fearing that Christendom itself might fall under their expansion. As a result, the Europeans mounted numerous crusades against the Ottomans, all of which proved ineffective. The Ottoman Empire's nomads became Muslims and learned about the Ghazi warrior tradition, which they had previously practiced as shamans. These fighters' fervor and skill enabled them to gain land and wealth while fighting to promote Islam. However, the Janissaries, an army of converted Christians, formed the backbone of the Ottoman military. Orhan Gazi established them in 1330, and they were made up of captives from conquered lands. They were raised in the Islamic religion and trained for combat. After serving as a vital component of the Ottoman military machine, the Janissaries were granted land and promoted to significant posts within the empire. Byzantine power struggles gave the Ottomans a chance to use their power as hired soldiers, which cemented their place in history. The Ottomans began to expand their kingdom into Thrace when they put down a rebellion against the Byzantine emperor in the 1340s. In 1366, they made Adrianople, now Edirne, their capital, and they continued to take over the Balkans and Greece. It was at its peak in the late 1400s when the Ottoman Empire completely took over Europe. The capture of Gallipoli in 1354 was a turning point, but the crushing loss of a large crusading force at the Battle of Nicopolis in 1396 sent shockwaves through Western Europe's chivalric orders and made them less eager to fight the Turks in the future. When Tamerlane's Tatars came in the early 1400s, they temporarily stopped Ottoman growth. After that, things changed. Still, the Ottomans didn't waste any time getting back on track. They quickly started attacking Byzantium and Eastern Europe again. When Murad II badly beat a Hungarian-Polish army at Varna in 1444, it looked like the Ottoman wave could not be stopped. During the rule of his son Mehmed II, the Conqueror, 1432–1481, the empire's goals achieved heights that had never been seen before. The fall of Constantinople in 1453, which turned it into Istanbul and put an end to Byzantine rule, had a terrible impact on Europe. Many Byzantine experts fled to the west because of the invasion. They brought back interest in classical and Hellenistic writing, which helped the Renaissance. From taking over Athens in 1456 to 1478, When it also controlled Serbia, Bosnia, Wallachia, and the Khanate of Crimea, the Ottoman Empire continued to grow. They controlled the Black Sea and the northern Aegean, which cut off important trade routes in Europe and cast a long shadow of danger across the continent. In 1480, the Ottomans established a foothold in Otranto, which raised worries about Rome's approaching fall even in Italy. Things began to change nonetheless. After their failed attack on Vienna in 1529, the Ottomans started to pull back. Even though the Ottomans kept their scary image well into the 16th century, disagreements within their own army made it less powerful. As the Europeans slowly gained ground, the balance of power changed. Even though it had many military wins, the Ottoman Empire had trouble running things and being led. The balance of power in the empire changed when Murad II put loyal former slaves and Janissaries in charge of running things to stop the lords from being too powerful. This strategy became a symbol of the Ottoman government because it let sultans pit different groups against each other. Still, the Janissaries were often strong enough to make kings, throwing a shadow over weak sultans. In the late 1600s, the Ottoman Empire started to lose power. In 1699, they lost Hungary after several failed sieges of Vienna. Corruption and decadence made the government even weaker, and decades of defeat had made the empire's forces weaker, giving it the nickname the Sick Man of Europe. These were the last lands that the Ottoman Empire had in Europe before the Balkan Wars, 1912-13. After the First World War, Germany and Turkey's allies signed treaties that broke up the state. When Mustafa Kemal Ataturk got rid of the Sultanate in 1922 and set up the Republic of Turkey in 1923, a new era began in the history of the area. So that is all the time we had today, folks. I hope you enjoyed this video. Do not forget to subscribe to our channel and hit the bell icon on your way out. See you all next time.